pledge allegiance. I need to get you a check. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Check would be more convenient, and I brought the paper in a stamped envelope.
Order mail.
Yeah,
Yes.
it goes to Maine. It goes to Maine, the state of Maine, so I brought all this. Thank y'all.
The meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall each have 5 minutes to address the court regarding matters not appearing on the agenda and only on items that are on the agenda. So at this time, yes, sir.
Well, thank y'all for allowing me to come again this morning, and I just wanted to report out that we had a great summer, and I don't know if y'all know, but the judge has been down the road. I have some proof. She's been down reading books to the children. See a few of these, and here's a group picture. I'll leave these with y'all, but she had a great time. The kids had a great time, and then the backs. When she got through reading her story and everybody having a good time with that, they went into the back and they made crafts. And we do that every Wednesday at the library. During the summer, we do a lot more than just story time. This past summer, like I was mentioning, we really had a great summer. With COVID, I'm going to get here because I don't want to cut out in my back for everybody. But in June of last year, we said we're going to start story time. We're going to open back up for the children's program. With COVID, it kind of really put a hurt on everybody. So we opened up our children's program in June, and we had a good summer program. It wasn't the best we ever had because we were trying to come back, but we were very happy with the results. And we just kept the momentum. We added a couple of new programs that fall, 3D printing, stop animation for the young people. We did that throughout the fall, the winter, and early part of spring of this year. And then this summer, we geared up and we had a good story time. And not only a good story time, not only a good summer, but it was the best June. We had almost 800 attendees come to our June program, as compared to 2019 when we thought we had the greatest year, which was about 625. And so that just gives you a comparison. I know you can go through the chart, but you can just see it just really took off for this summer. So I just wanted to report back that we really are coming back good from COVID, and the resources, I know y'all see the impact of these resources being used for the community. And I want to say thank you for your continued support.
And can I say that any other elected official that would like to come read, that you would be glad to have them?
We would. And, I mean, come have coffee if you don't want to
See
read.
the sheriff smiling back there.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was there just a few
last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yes.
No, we really do have a good thing going at the library. And, you know, it's because of the support that we get from county, city, and a few other places, and all that information. Okay.
We have people not just from the city, we have a lot of people out of the county, some, and.
Oh, yeah.
And, your facilities. Also, you still have computers where people can come to do searches.
Job
on
searches.
jobs through the, hot call, no, part of Texas, workforce.
A good work. Yeah, we're involved with the program through. We're at level, the first level, which means that we provide the resources, and we're able to go in and show them how to access and get into the information. We don't teach them how to do it all at a different level, but we do help them as they need to get into the program, find out what they need. People, a lot of benefits for them. And so you mentioned that. I'll just also mention that we have a tech time. We call it tech hour or whatever. Y'all might be interested. If you ever have trouble with your phone, an app, trying to figure out how to do that, we offer that service free, and we've been doing it since we redid the remodel. So somebody will come in and they're trying to figure out how to do something with their phone, maybe a new phone or whatever. But we help. We'll tell you, as long as we're not just so busy we can't, we'll provide up to an hour time helping them work through those issues, and we do that. And there's some data on how many of those we do every year, and whatever.
Well, I'm glad to know that. I know probably nobody else needs that, but I certainly do
Yeah.
sometimes.
Now, I need your number, Gary, when they have
Yeah.
coming on up to the county.
There you go, Danny.
I just found a pond.
There you go, there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Tom.
Would you tell all of them if they'd like to go get a chair and bring it, we'll fit them right in so they can sit down? Yeah, we have 3 open chairs up here. You're fine, Brian. We have some blankets up, unused up here. Come on up here. Come on up here and have a seat.
I'm fine, Judge.
Don't fit
Get you close.
I just want to make a quick exit if I need to.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Teresa got a chair.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, Mr. Morgan?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We have some very important things we need to take care of that we haven't taken care of yet. And that has to do with this noise that's in this county. I talked to you guys many times, but our rights as citizens of this United States are being abridged. In the Declaration of Independence, I have a copy of it here, we have certain inalienable rights. And that's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Well, we've got a lot of people here who are not alive today because of this noise. It's killed them, giving them brain damage, tearing their bodies up with other measurements. Four men in this county that I know of, the testicles had to be removed because of this damage to them, because of this low frequency noise. And people know, well, a lot of people have never heard of low frequency noise, but it is here and it's being addressed all around the world, but not in the United States. So we have these inalienable rights that we need to protect, and we're not doing that. We need to have a noise meter that can detect it, since most people can't hear it, and then we can show you what damage is causing. The limit is 30 decibels, and we've got 70 decibels that I have reported to my meter all over this county. That's not protecting our rights. We're doing that. We tried to get, we got a law passed that says you will protect our citizens, but it didn't say noise specifically. So our state attorney general says they can put out all the noise they want to. That's pretty stupid on his part. I hope we get him put it out. But anyway, this noise issue still has to be addressed. We we have 27 counties in Texas that have more than 1,000 gas wells. We are number 8 out of 254 counties with 3,050 gas wells in this county alone. And we have 130 gas compressor stations that's putting out all this noise. We're still not addressing it, and we've got to address it. Comply with the Constitution.
Thank you.
I would say I would like us to put in a $3,500 budget item for a noise meter for your environmental guy for the county to detect this stuff, to show officially that we've got a problem. There's no doubt in my mind we have a major issue here. And one last thing I'll say is that the hospital research that they did says we have more deaths in this county than any other county our size, and they have no idea why. And they don't know anything about the effects of low frequency noise that I've given to you and I've given to all commissioners before. This is still a major issue that's not being addressed at this point. And we need to do that.
Anyone else? If not, we'll go to item number 1, which is to approve the minutes of the August 3rd and August 10th meetings.
On the August 10th meeting, number 7 at the very bottom. The statement says budget for 2 vehicles for the sheriff's office. Is that correct, or is that supposed to be, we need to change that?
That is correct. Is it the bottom? Is it the bottom of
That we're the deal about after review?
it? Maybe we should add to that, for, vehicles that were budgeted in the prior budget cycle, but not received. Okay. They were budgeted for, but will not be received in this budget cycle.
They did that 12,400, and will increase to 14,400. Is that an increase, or is that
It's
just
not an increase, it's a change.
just a change?
Correcting it.
Those corrections, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the,
I have one.
Okay.
If you'll hold that. Let me see where it is. On the first set, August 3rd, number 9, I think for clarification, let's put, that was for Republican judges, is all that we approved at that time. We didn't receive the Democratic list, so it hasn't been approved yet. So if you'll put appoint Republican election judges.
you don't see anything else? Okay, I'll make a motion we approve the August 3rd regular meeting and the August 10th special meeting minutes.
Second.
With those.
With those corrections, yes.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 2 is budget transfers and amendments.
first amendment.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve and pay the bills.
Page 24, the bills.
Page 20.
Or, it's been about the 10th one down, dependable fire. It says camera system. Did we do something to the camera system?
Yes. We were looking for an update. We were able to get a quote from, because we needed some more outside cameras, but we were able to update our whole system, which means, and ours was, how many years old? I've forgotten, but we have to ask Larry. But anyway, for that amount, we could get a whole new system with new cameras, all new cameras. We have some that are not working, and we needed to add some, like over in front of the county clerk's office, and some that would give us a little more coverage for the sheriff's department, and some blank areas. So we have opted on that system.
So, so we've already paid them for it?
We already have them.
I just didn't know that we did that, but we did that.
Hey, on that Lock Ridge Priest, will they, fix a drain line backing up on the jail? Was that like an air conditioner drain line?
No, that was the plumbing.
That was plumbing?
I thought thought Lockridge Crews just did air
They do,
conditioning, I didn't
yeah.
realize they did plumbing
And
also.
more plumbing, you know, had fixed something in there too.
Yeah.
But
That was that weekend that we had that emergency in there, that's why we looked at them over in Waco, couldn't get anybody in place.
yeah.
Anything else?
I make a motion to approve budget bills.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Any opposed? None, motion carried. Item number 4 is to approve the payroll. What do you normally use admin time for, Teresa?
What do I usually use it for? Sometime right before holiday. You know, I may let the girls off at 3 o'clock, 3:30. Sometimes, if they have I don't know, need to do some business or something, I'll let them have that in time. Mainly just right before holiday. Sometimes I'll let them go at an hour early.
All right, well, generally, we use vacation time for that, rather than admin time. All right, do we have a motion on the payroll?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, aye? Really, pass that one around. Item number 5 is reports. I have a report from the district clerk for July. The tax office for July. County clerk for July. JP2 for July. And for the senior services for July. Does anyone else have sorry. The auditor's report for July. Treasurer's report, which is all that. Now, any other reports? If not, then we have a motion to accept the reports.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Item number 6, any change on the burn ban?
No action.
Sir?
No action.
No action. Item number 7, special road use agreement. I do not have any. No action. Item number 8, for bonds and education certificates, we have 8. Cybersecurity. Linda Smith, Maria Munoz, Chris Ferris, Grant, Eric Blaze, Christy Lewis, Louis Smead, Kim Emmons, Aaron Davis, David Hamilton, Shay Garcia, Deborah Evans. We have a election law seminar for Sherry Hendricks and Renee Craig and Ron Mellencamp. All right. Do we still have some that have not taken theirs?
Well, that's what we were just discussing. We were waiting on the email back to update. I think there's at least one, there may be a couple, but I think.
Maybe just one,
And our email was apparently down like yesterday, so we didn't get the email.
so we're close.
I think so.
And it has to be done by the end of this month.
Well, Judy has to have the report done by August 31st, so she needs everybody to get it done. It's probably showing to August.
And what I read on it, correct me Beth if I'm wrong, but what I read on it basically, if someone's not in compliance, then when we send that in, they just cannot use any kind of county computer system until they are in compliance. Did you read that?
I also read something about, I guess, compliance to call for grants.
That's right, to get a grant. Probably anybody that is associated with can get a grant, unless we're in our office. I'm sorry, the auditor's office, so. We have a motion to accept those certificates.
Motion accept.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 9 is to discuss salary grades. So for today, you have a copy of the personnel for the courthouse and for the sheriff's office. I know that we've had several requests of various ones to look at. The sheriff has provided us with some requests. And so I think then the next step, y'all can review those. We will try to do a survey of counties and the surrounding areas and see what all of their figures show, and then we will bring that back to you. Is there anything else anybody would like to look at? We've talked about various things throughout the town, the other counties, but I think maybe a little survey would be placed. So we have those for review. We will go to item number 10, which is to approve the updated Freestone County emergency plans. The basic plan, Annex C, communications, Annex 1, public information, Annex M, resource management, Annex N, direction and control, and Annex 5, terrorist. Leonard has updated these, and he just leaves these approved now. If anybody would like to look at any of these, we have those available for you to review. These annexes all are due on different times. They just, we have to update at different times, but these are the ones that are currently being submitted.
Make a motion to approve the updated Freestone County emergency plans. I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. And Leonard's on here, but thank you. He has done a great job. Item number 11, budget review. All right. We had already talked about some changes to the proposed budget. The change that was approved on the HADA, that was just a typographical error. And also that we're again budgeting for the $117,000 for the 2 vehicles that we don't have. And then there were some funds, special funds that had changes that Karen had presented to us before. Now, we have had a request to move the DPS officers to Fairfield, and there will be some cost maybe to making some changes there as far as the facility. I don't know what, but anyway, we will have that. And then also we'll be moving Steve's office for, that to be the sergeant's office. And I'm sure there'll be a little bit of remodeling to do, not a big thing, but maybe changing some phone lines and doing things had written down for Jamie's was not 29, it was the 27,280, so that will be what's in the budget. Now, other changes for the budget. We had talked about ambulance requests, and you know we are getting a new ambulance for Teague and for Fairfield. Don't know exactly when those will come in, but we do have those bid, and we're in line to get them. Other discussion on the proposed budget. Now, there's been some concern expressed during Commissioner's Court about increases in prices on not only fuel, but on road materials and all of those kinds of things. And, you know, the year before, we did do a transfer to the road and bridge out of the funds, out of the general fund. And I'd like to talk about that.
If we did the same amount this year, it would be enough.
So,
I said if we did that same amount this year, it wouldn't be enough to cover. What I look at is the increase in cost of goods, meaning fuel, tires.
we did 125 last year.
I think it would take 150 to, we wouldn't gain anything. It would just be able for us to pay our bills. I would ask that it be 25,000 more than last year if we did this.
Any other discussion?
Will that be a form of transfer that they add to the budget? We can put it
It will be a transfer to the concession funds.
I figured it, and I figured, I mean, I looked at, went back 3 years and looked at, I mean, each precinct's different. You know, Clyde's precinct, you spend more money in parts, repair, and maintenance. You've got older equipment, you know, where's precinct three kind of right there behind you. Sand and gravel, 1 and 2, we have spent more money on that in the last 2 years. But it's just looking at these things that are consumable. We have to have fuel and tires and batteries. And the one thing that I talked with Andy about, between the last drought and the freeze and the drought we're in right now, trees have become a big deal. Lots of dead trees, and a lot of those trees are big. We don't have the equipment to take them down without destroying somebody's fence or
take them down safely.
yeah, you're just not prepared to do that. So when that happens, when we come across a tree that we can't cut, we hire it. That comes out of purchase services, and that's usually a standing tree. You know, anything that falls, we don't pay nobody to get. But we have had it. I think we're going to have more of that this year. I mean, it's not a, you know, maybe another $5,000. You're just guessing 5,000 to 10,000, but that's just going to be another cost that's going to be associated with keeping the roads from having those kind of trees on it.
It's not going away.
No, it's going to, and it's going to, they're just continually dying and falling. So,
If you get them off ahead of time, it saves you from having to do
It saves you comp time, you know.
comp time and manpower and all that. It
but
helps.
if you get everyone that somebody calls and says there's a tree that's going to fall on my road, you can't do it, you know? The 99% of it, you gotta let them fall, you know? But there are circumstances where it's safer to go ahead and get them taken down.
No, the big ones, the big ones, we got all the big ones, and it's a ticket down.
Right.
So, well, Randy's out there
more than 40 county, those oak trees are,
Yes, same.
they're all around that place.
I shall take 150. And spend it wisely.
You're gonna have to have it operate any way you can.
Now, back to the move, the DPS, two officers over there, and the TIG office, if they move over here, then, we will have, additional space in the TIG office that will be open. That's a pretty large room in the back where they are, isn't it?
It'll hold 2 desks.
It'll hold 2 desks? Okay, okay. Large enough for 2 desks. Well, not just a one, yeah, that's what we need to know.
It's big enough.
Large enough for 2 desks, okay.
Are we gonna move the JP2, JP4 over there?
We had talked, whenever we hired her, that might be the possibility of what we do at budget time.
Give Steve her office, or someone her office.
Yeah, that's all they do, that up there is our office or that little bitty office that election controls.
Leonard's in that office.
Leonard's in there.
Leonard's there.
Does the constable in precinct 2, does he have an office in that building? Does he have an office over there?
And, if you look at it, it might be that, the 2 constables could share that office since there's enough room for 2 desks in that office.
There's still room for the JP4.
Yes, if we put the 2 constables in one office.
So basically, TIG would house 2 and 4 from the JP constable both standpoint, and then 1 and 3 will be in Fairfield.
Yes.
And then all his officers would be housed here along with you, so you'd have all your people
All your DPS here.
downstairs.
Yes, sir, that would help me out greatly because we have a DPS internet to our office that only we can access, and I can run a board over there, and then off, because if they don't have access to that. Because I've got to put that system over there, so if I could have them here, it would help me to run that system across to that one office, and then I can have all my
You'd have all your officers and your office help, and so that you'll all be right there in that downstairs.
We'll be all right there together.
And that's what we had discussed with her when she was hired, that
Does she have a full-time secretary at this point?
this time.
But we have one in TIG that's retiring.
She is retired, yes. I don't know if she's retiring or just not going to continue working as of the end of the year. Because Debbie's
Jimmy
trying to.
takes over, she's.
Yes, yes.
She's moody. She's moody, is the reason why.
So that one secretary will be taking care of both those JPs for a while, or we try. See how it works. If there's, I mean, I don't know, but
Since we're in the same, we're in the same office, we always revisit it.
if there's a problem, we can revisit, look at it.
But still, we would need a budget.
It's already in there for 2.
It's in there for two.
It
Well,
is.
if you got
We can
one
change
leaving,
that.
if you got one leaving at the end of the year,
Yeah,
I'm just saying, if you're only gonna have one after that, then you need to budget it,
but at least
half of that secretary and more, and half of it too.
We can always come back if it's not working, we can always come back and
Yes.
change that. At any time. All right, so we'll
Put
change
maybe
that.
some part-time help in there or something.
We do have some.
Okay.
Okay. What else do we need to discuss on the budget? What have we forgotten?
Don't need to talk about ambulances, we got ambulance guys here.
We surely do.
Sure do. What you need to discuss? I don't know.
I know y'all need more money, just like Sheriff's Department needs more money, and road and bridge, fuel's high,
It's the cost of things.
supplies,
Fuel is a big issue. That's been an issue, just like you guys. It is what it is. I don't think that's gonna change anytime soon. The cost of all medical supplies and the other supplies you read is going up, just like everybody else. And then get what's wrong. Sometimes we hit it just right, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're short on one. NS or someone coming here in the trucks. It is what it is.
Y'all have 2 full-time crews.
No numbers.
And how many ambulances do y'all have currently?
We have 3 that are in service at all times.
3 that's in service, 2 full-time crews, and you're getting them, we're buying y'all, running the new one that's coming in.
I think Billy said the
I'm
estimate,
sorry.
I think Billy said the estimate delivery date for Fraser was February 24th.
I'm sorry, say that again.
February 24 is.
Okay, because they originally told us at the end of 23. Who knows though?
It's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
I know they'll bump us up. In the past, they bumped us up if somebody drops out, they'll bump you up on the slide.
Mhm.
So, but that's when they can say it's definitely going to be done.
Is there anybody here with the EMS?
I don't think so.
Know that we had requested some more information based on this,
Capital
this,
building.
and they had a couple of, looking at our costs, I know it's extremely hard for an ambulance service to show a profit. You know, it's not a good business to be in. But two of their large expenditures were what I would consider a one-time cost because it had to do with the demolition of the old hospital. And one was a reboot of the ambulance. So basically, without those two one-time costs, their books would have showed about $220,000 net profit. So I don't want to punish anybody, but I've never understood why we give the same amount to both ambulance services.
See, now you're going to try to get me into this debate, right?
No, no,
I'm just talking, I'm not asking you
No.
to respond to none of that. I'm telling everybody what I think. You know, I didn't agree with it last year. I don't, I realized there was a deal made a long time ago that we collect taxes for TIG and they pay us a portion. It's about $98,000 that they give Freestone County for what we do for them.
And
But
every,
the people that live in the TIG Independent School District, they're getting taxed $400,000 for a hospital tax. $98,000 comes to the county for the work we do for them, the other $300,000 goes to the ambulance service. How much do y'all get from the hospital district in Ferguson?
Now you're going to ask me a question I can't answer.
well,
I think it was 50 last year. if I'm not
50 because
mistaken.
they donate that.
Yeah.
They are not a taxing entity,
Right.
so they don't go through the same process.
Right.
But all the other taxing entities that we collect taxes for, they pay a portion of the expenses for the tax office.
It's
And it's
75
based
cents
on
a
the
parcel.
parcels.
I mean, where you're visiting right now, Lloyd, is somewhere I've been a few years ago, as judge, so,
Yeah, no, we're just.
Yeah,
Just
I'm
looking
here
at common sense.
Kevin,
and
Kevin and
we're
me are here
right.
because Billy's on the report.
Yeah, I was gonna, I think you might have gotten with y'all individually at some
Yeah.
point last week or so. He sent me a little message for y'all. I don't know, if you got a second, I'll read it to you. It says, as you know, Governor Abbott has made a wildfire disaster proclamation Therefore, I've been deployed for the state for emergency medical task force to provide medical support to our responding firefighters across the state. In the last 6 days, we've been from north of Beaumont to way to the Red River assisting firefighters working in these elements. So please pray for them and for rain. We all need it. Regretfully, I will not be here today. The budget hearings would like to reiterate our need for increased support for help to overcome losses due to inflation of fuel, supplies, equipment needed to care for our citizens. Thank you for all you do for our citizens, Freestone County. Please don't hesitate to contact me. I think I'll have this contact info. So anyway.
Thank you.
Do y'all know, does TIG help with transfers? Do they help y'all ever with transfers to somewhere, or do y'all do all the transfers? Does TIG ever come over to Fairfield to help y'all?
Yes.
They took me to Waco.
TIG did?
Teague did.
When we've been tied up on other transfers, they help us out.
So they come over to help assist y'all?
They do a lot of the transfers out of Park during the daytime. Nighttime, it seems like we catch a transfer.
So
Some
when
of the contract really worked out with them because they couldn't get my hand to take transfers. They were sort of pushing it.
So when they do transfers, do y'all reimburse them? Or I'm asking because I don't know how that works.
See,
Chris, I won't put you on the spot.
No. Okay, it's not really something that is, it's not really something that's like designated for each EMS. That's really up to the hospital, the transferring facility. They call whoever. They're gonna call the locals first and then go from there. So
When y'all do a transfer, you don't have to worry about getting paid, is that right? I mean, it's not like going out.
Say, we're gonna bill the insurance.
If they have insurance.
If they have insurance.
They're self-paying.
Yeah, we'll get it.
So transfers fall under the same case if you just go to a 911 call
Yeah.
right outside the city limits, you don't know if those people have anything or not. They're
Yeah.
going to help.
And the other thing, one of my other concerns is that we give $100,000, $150,000 to the Fairfield Ambulance Service, and then in return, they transport our people from jail up there, and then we get charged for the ambulance service. And I mean, you know, we're giving a lot of money to y'all, and you deserve it. But also in return, you know, I mean, it's not that far from here to there. I mean, is there, and how many times is it an emergency? I'm asking, I don't know.
Anytime they dial 911, it's an emergency.
Okay.
Maybe you should ask the sheriff that.
Yeah, so when y'all do that, do y'all call 911 a lot, or y'all just have it transferred up there?
We'll notify EMS if it's somebody that we're not comfortable with putting in our vehicle to get them there.
Which,
But y'all do that
in
through
Jeremy's
911
defense, I mean,
or?
they're not medically trained. They don't know somebody's claiming to have chest pain. Well,
Sure.
Yeah.
So y'all call 911, your dispatch calls 911 and has the ambulance dispatched up here?
Yes. If anything else, we put in our car and go. But if it's something that we're, like, we could leave them alone until they get here.
I mean, we're the medically trained personnel. We have the equipment. I don't, you know, I can see the point on that. I know where you're going with this. Could you just say, you know what? You probably got nothing going on with you. We're going to run you down to the hospital. Sure, but then you look at the liability of that, and it's actually part of that.
If he has a heart attack in our car, it's not gonna be there.
Yeah, even though it's faster for you to just run them up there than it is.
It would, yeah.
Mhm.
But like I said, you know, have a road liability.
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at, Clyde. You know, that's something you're gonna have to work out on what Billy's at, our director. I'm not going to.
I'm not.
It is odd that we pay money to the ambulance and then we turn around and pay money again to the ambulance when they show up.
And that varies from year to year, and I think this year we've only paid them 13,000 or so.
I mean, Billy'd be the one that would have the budget numbers exactly what our, you know. expenditures are and what we're taking in. I can tell you, you know, we do a large amount of what we refer to as no pays. I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't refuse a transfer, you can't say, out 911, well, do you have any insurance? Well, you know, you got cash on you. You know, I mean, what are you gonna do? You have to provide 911 service, which is where the county comes in on that.
And for health and welfare of our citizens, yeah. Oh, what else? Anything else on, let's finish up what we were talking about there?
My recommendation would be we give them both the same amount.
I agree.
Whatever that is.
I totally disagree. Y'all go over their books again.
I've looked at it all I need to. I've looked at the books all I need to.
Well, the point being, except for those two large expenditures, they would be making a, how much profit?
About 220,000. Below.
So they had enough money to be able to pay that 300-something thousand for the building. And that is a one-time expense.
And it's great. I think it's a great thing. But I just don't think that we should short pay a larger facility with more staff, more employees, and more overhead, and give the same amount of money to somebody that's actually revenuing,
So the
that
building,
does less calls and has less employees and less overhead.
so the building, they built the building in T, house,
They paid to tear down the one they had, and, I don't know, did they already have that building where they are right now?
That's
they had a little one back there behind the hospital. But the one here, who built y'all's, how'd y'all get the building out here? Did the hospital build
Hospital
that?
district.
Yeah.
So they got, I mean, theirs was built by the hospital for free.
But
So
when
they,
we're looking at operating expenses, is what we're really thinking about here, is what they're, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but they did have the funds to do that if it, that 300-something thousand is not a recurring expense that they'll have next year.
well, I'm very thankful that we have both of them.
I am too.
Thank y'all for what y'all do.
What do y'all do?
I'm gonna go with Lauren.
What are you proposing then?
Yeah, what kind of money?
I don't know what the magic number is. I guess the biggest question is, did you take money, if we're looking at $200,000 that we've just been splitting 50-50, are we adding anything to that? Or to make it more fair, would we be taking away from one entity and giving it to the other?
Or just look at them individually and determine how much we need to fund for each one. Not necessarily taking away from one or taking away from the other and giving, just how much do we need to fund for each one based on their statements. Financial statements, not y'all statements, financial statements.
Oh, I'm on tape now, so it don't matter.
Well, I don't want to take away from TE. I'll just put it that much. I don't want to lose, because every year's different. They may have some problem, I mean, you know, hey, they have breakdowns, I mean, I don't know how old their ambulances are. I don't know, you know, where all that
Well,
falls to.
that equipment was a rebuild on an ambulance.
Yeah,
So it should be in good shape.
they got two, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
So they got three, they got a backup.
They got that other one was out of service.
Refurbished or something, they had something they got done.
I was talking about it.
I'm believing TE's the same, because they will get a slight increase if valuations went up 20%, they're gonna get a little increase in income on that.
That's true.
That could offset their request, I mean, what they request. And I'm for leaving that
I
the
hadn't
same.
even thought about that.
No,
That is
they're
true.
gonna
They
get a
will get an
15,
increase.
I mean, valuation is what, 20%?
Well, they're allowed an 8% growth.
Pardon me?
They're only allowed 8% growth.
Okay.
That'd be 32.
But if the values are higher, they're still getting more.
Yeah, good, that'll
Yeah.
help them.
If they choose to adopt, their voter approval rate will be 8% increase in revenue.
Okay. That's good to know.
Are we still talking 200,000? Are we talking about more or what?
Well, I think, again, for me, looking at each one, if we left the one at 100 and we increased Fairfield,
We would have to. I mean, it would only be fair.
yes, because Teague is getting an increase on their property tax, on their taxes.
They're getting the hospital
When did they
tax
set their
that
rate?
the Fairfield entity.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I should caveat that they can adopt a higher rate, but it would have to go to voters
Yeah.
for election, which I.
But just that evaluations, they're looking at 8% if they leave.
They under state law can collect 8% more money than last year without the public say so.
Do you know what the Fairfield Hospital District rate is? Didn't it go up a couple of years ago?
That don't affect the Fairfield EMS, so.
No, but not just the hospital.
Because they don't get tax money.
Right.
They have been increasing their rate in the past.
Well, they had a vote last year, didn't they? I thought so.
Yeah, the voters approved it.
Wonder what the change in what their no new revenue is this year compared to where they're at currently.
They're gonna be allowed that same 8% growth with their voter approval rate. Now, the rates went down because values went up so much.
Did you say 5%?
404.
404.
Yeah,
Okay, so that'd be about 20,000,
yeah,
more than 20.
up to 32.
32, up to, you know. Look,
Yeah, 32.
But I believe they were looking at adopting something closer to their voter approval rates. Excuse me, the no new revenue rate. They were looking at adopting something that would generate about the same amount of money as last year. Not taking advantage of everything they could.
What about to exceed myself?
No. Fairfield Hospital.
What would be a fair number to increase, if we leave T the same, what would be a fair number to increase the Fairfield EMS?
30,000.
Good with that?
That's comparable to what Teague could increase.
Right.
Are you okay with that?
That would put it,
Okay. 130 for Fairfield. And leave the 100 for Teague since they are getting a tax increase. All right?
Thank you. I'll say that right now. for
Anything else on the budget? All right, if not, let's go to.
what about, we were gonna talk about this, about the fuel on the DA. We ever change that?
Yes, I thought I talked about this last
No, we didn't.
time, I'm sorry. That was more than just fuel. It was, he gave me a breakdown for, I don't have that right in front of me, but for, tires and, repairs. Do you have that? And reduced?
I mean, if just fuel, that's 1,800 a month. Yeah, that's 7,000, at $4 a gallon and 16 miles a gallon, that's 7,000 miles a month. I was wondering what was-
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think probably simplified a little too much in my mind, putting all of what costs would come with that vehicle all in one line item.
And repairs.
And repairs, instead of getting with Karen and Judge and kind of breaking it down. We also left some fluff in there thinking, there's kind of two ways of looking at it, right? Do we want to transfer during the year? Like, would that put people out more? Or is it better to have definitely enough money in there to cover everything? And we went with the latter approach. But, so we broke it down. That's also when gas was skyrocketing towards $5. And so me and Jason sat down the other day, made it more of a $4 per gallon, pulled out the tires, pulled out the maintenance, and so it's $11,700 for the fuel, $3,200 for tires, $500 for oil changes, $300 for wipers, batteries, bulbs, etc. I think that falls more in line. So no, your questions are well received. I definitely see what you're talking about now. And I think that fits in probably to the more reasonable realm of a budget. I'm sorry. You'll make me add it.
Or give it to me again. I went around.
Okay, 11,700 for fuel, $3,200 for tires, $500 for oil changes, $300 for miscellaneous wipers, batteries, bulbs. This is also based on the truck that we have now, is a little bit older, which we are very appreciative of. That's not a complaint by any means. But I know there's been talk of purchasing a new truck and things like that. Obviously, some of those costs will change up as we go. So there's just some unknowns there exactly how that truck is going.
That's 15,700, right?
Right, so you reduced that about $6,000.
Well, no, we may, because it probably won't get in.
Well, we'll get it in 23.
We won't get it
If we
in
got it.
this, so it'll be the next one.
Correct, yes ma'am. That's where there's a little bit of unknown of when that new vehicle is going to get in, and that's what.
Thank you. All right, if that's all on the budget review, it is 10:15. We will go into the public hearing on the budget. We pretty much talked it through, but we have to have a public hearing, so is there any discussion on the budget? And we have to keep that time open to 10:15. Public hearing. If there's not any discussion on the budget, then we will close the public hearing on the budget.
That $3,500 I recommended to put in for the meters, for the environmental, and that you don't include it now, it's gone, it's not possible. When would that be addressed?
It
How could
is not
get-
specifically in the budget. We do have a line item for capital expenditures. And if we look at that, decide that that is something that we want to do, then that would fit within that amount.
Are we going with 15,700 on the bid?
Unless you,
I don't give a 14,400, and I'm wearing my truck out.
It's one of those things, Commissioner Bonner, I'm fine with whatever money you think like is appropriate for that, for those line items.
Is he gonna be driving his truck back and forth to Centerville?
Yes, sir. That's the plan unless you,
And the reason.
you tell me,
And the reason being.
reason being, I think that it's an inexpensive value to the county. We talked about that a little bit this morning too, about driving back and forth. Obviously, he's going to Centerville, that's through a lot of Leon County. It's also through a lot of Freestone County. He stopped and helped with wrecks, some of the larger wrecks on the interstate going home, assisted with troopers that have people pulled over on the side of the highway, deputies that have people pulled over on the south part of Freestone County. The other day, he actually put up a cow that was out due on his way home, things like that. So again, you may disagree, we may agree to disagree. I feel like that value to the county of him being able to have that vehicle to respond to those type of calls to and from work, plus any sort of duties with the DA's office that he can accomplish going to and from work, I think will be a benefit
Is he on call?
He's on call, yes, ma'am.
Well, all our guys are on call, and they get a call, they drive from their home to the county farm in their personal vehicle, and then go to work, and then drive back home.
Well, and I think that brings up a bigger issue, and I agree with you, is that the deputies take their cars home, right? They're on call. So I think if you don't like law enforcement taking their cars home, we need to look at the whole situation with Freestone County. You know what I mean? I think that my investigator falls in more in line with a deputy, and therefore should follow the same rules as a deputy. I agree with what you're saying, and I think that if there's a problem with somebody that's on call taking their vehicle home, then we probably need to look at the law enforcement as a whole of Freestone County, and if they all need to leave their vehicles here and drive back and forth. That's something obviously we can discuss, and the commissioners may want to take that role. If you want to, if the commissioners, if they want to buy take-home vehicles for their employees, and you feel like they're on call enough that they need to respond to emergencies, that's definitely something y'all four can talk about. But again, I think that brings up a larger issue than my investigator specifically when it comes to the take-home vehicle.
Bigger can of worms.
I'm not gonna go for the 15-7.
What's the,
We have
I'm
another
sorry.
comment back here.
I like to say, that this here, he helps us out a great deal, especially after hours. He helps us with search warrants on cars, people. He helps us with getting warrants and stuff for black boxes when we have a top wrecks. We call him a lot, and he comes out like that. He does a great job, and he helps us out a great deal.
And once again, but let me go back to my point with my investigator, in my budget. Whatever money you think is appropriate, I will gladly accept and be very, very thankful for, okay? Commissioner Bonner, I'm not up here to say, hey, we definitely need that amount of money. I'm not up here for that discussion to happen of whether you think he should take it out of county. I think it's a concern that needs to be discussed. So I for sure feel like it is something that I'm glad that you brought up. All I'm saying is whatever the commissioners feel like is reasonable in this circumstance, I'll be very thankful for. And I appreciate kind of this discussion and having the vehicle to begin with. So this is not a hill that I'm going to get up here and die on and have a big kind of back and forth. It's not that issue for me. All I'm saying with the take-home vehicle is I think that he falls kind of more in a deputy type of on-call situation, and therefore would follow the same type of rule as what our deputies follow. That's all. That's
What
all.
amount would you suggest?
I don't know. Can't talk about it.
Is this vehicle, is it gonna be marked where people will know that it'll be, I mean, like, if he's out helping y'all, is there some kind of markings gonna be put on there so that people will know that vehicle is supposed to be there? I mean, I'm asking because I don't know.
I don't think an investigator needs a marked vehicle.
Everybody knows.
They're just slipping around while they're investigating, so.
We have some lights in there, right? We have some rudimentary.
The one I have now has some lights and it has a radio in it. It's not very safe for me to go at high speeds. I don't have a siren. I can't alert people in an emergency situation, so I use that very sparingly. Having a marked vehicle, the only benefit to having a marked vehicle would be for, when serving subpoenas and people can see that what agency I'm with as I pull up. But marked, unmarked, that's really up to the county.
And I think, I get your question. I think having the lights and having an office vehicle is helpful for when, I'm assuming I was not out there, but if he pulls out behind a trooper that has two people on the side of the road to assist, he can turn those lights on and help both with traffic to alert the trooper that this is law enforcement, things like that. I do think that the actual marks on the side of the vehicle might be a larger discussion about what's more beneficial to the office, but it would definitely have the ability for when he pulled up to
Yeah, the reason I kind of brought this up is because when he's doing, investigating somebody, he drives through the neighborhood looking for somebody, they're gonna know he's looking, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's, it's a double-edged sword kind of deal.
Total 2,000? All right, and how much does it total now?
15 cents.
15? Okay, and you want it to be 10,000? Come back?
Just 11.7 fuel, at 16 miles per gallon allows you to drive 53,000 miles a year. And that breaks down on a 5-day week to a year, about 205 miles per day. One set of tires all last all year.
So let's make tires, how much for 1 year? Instead of, what do you have,
3,200.
3,200? All right, let's make that 2,000. And then let's make fuel, 9,000. And then if you run out of fuel, then we'll talk about transferring some money.
I think that's a perfect approach. Like I said, I'm kind of drawing at straws about.
That'd be 11. 9,000 on fuel and 2,000 on tires. Is that good with you? All right.
I'm drawing at straws about what that budget's gonna be. It's my first time making a fuel maintenance budget, and I know y'all four luckily are the experts when it comes to mileage, maintenance, tires, things of that nature, so I'm definitely willing to listen.
I could just say at 14.4 what we get, we breaking even and wearing a truck in.
And I'm fine having that discussion during the middle of the year and let you know where we're at and how much we've used, and that's a perfectly fine approach by me. I would, like I told Commissioner McSwain, I was kind of taking the opposite approach to definitely have enough in there to not have to come back to y'all to make sure, you know, I kind of took that approach a little bit more, but I'm fine with the approach of, hey, coming to you if we run out of money, and we'll have that discussion about what's appropriate then.
All right. Anything else then?
Free trial intervention.
Yeah, and we can have that discussion as well.
Right.
I confess I haven't done my homework.
That's all right.
The 37% proposed tax rate, is that a change from last year? I don't remember. I've slept since then.
37.27.
39375.
We were 3.75.
Is that a change? Is that an increase or a decrease?
Decrease.
It's a decrease?
The tax rate itself is.
Because the appraisals went up.
Yes.
Right.
Great, thank you.
All right, anything else on the public hearing on the budget? If not, it will close at 10:25. Item number 13 is the vote to set the salaries, expenses, or allowances for 2022 to 2023 fiscal year. We have made one change that we talked about today. You've looked at all of the other salaries that we have on our salary sheet. We'll make that one change. And with that one change, we have a motion to set the salaries, expenses, or allowances for 2022, 2023 fiscal year as presented in the budget with that addition, or with that change. So moved. We have a so moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 13 is to adopt the budget. And do we have a motion to adopt the budget with the changes that we've discussed this morning, including those changes that we've discussed this morning?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 15 is to adopt the tax rate. We need a motion to approve the order adopting the tax rate and authorizing the tax assessor collector to assess and collect taxes in accordance with the tax rate, which is 0.137. We need discussion on that.
What is it? 0.37.
You said it was something, I don't know, now you lost me.
I like it, I like it.
It's like,
Okay, I'm gonna read this again.
Can we do more, is my question. Can we lower it more? One,
Oh, you said do more.
lower, I know we can't go up. I mean, but we had talked about, we have the possibility of lowering.
It's always a possibility.
I mean,
If we lower the tax rate,
every penny's to, what?
293.
and so that would have to come from somewhere else.
Wait a minute, what are you saying?
Well, if we lower the tax rate, then that is gonna reduce the amount that each of y'all get in your budget and reduce what's in the general fund.
Okay, we're gonna collect 1.6, how much more this year than last year? 1.6, I believe I'm right. And we, the year before, we didn't spend 600 or 500. Well, I mean, we had left over, so we don't know what we've got left over this year.
No, but we are budgeting some out of that fund, out of that surplus that we didn't spend last year, to be spent this year. The problem with that is, just probably what you were gonna say is, the way the legislature, we always have trouble with the legislature, they have changed the way that we can do business.
None of the rollback has changed. I mean, we're setting ourselves up if we lower it too much. We
If
can
we
get it
lower
back.
it, then our maximum is 3.5 that we
Right.
can raise it. So, depending on what happens with the appraisals for next year, we may be limited,
Right.
we're more limited than what we used to be.
the bad thing
We
would be
used
if
to go
appraisals went back to where they were. And
Odds
we
are,
could only
odds
go-
are it won't trend that much. But
Right, but if we couldn't go over 395, say,
Yeah.
because then basically we would be revenuing what we did in 21, 22 year.
And we are lower the tax.
And we can't,
No,
that's not enough to
I
operate.
just want to know, that's the question, we do all we can for the people.
I just want
You know,
people to know that we are lowering the tax
We
rate
are,
from
and-
3.9 to 3.7.
If you look at,
3.9, whatever it was.
That's right. and if you look at what we've done before, when we had a lot of extra revenue, minerals and things, we would drop our tax rate. Because we knew that the next year, whenever, and we shouldn't have dropped it that much, we did it too much at that time probably. But then, whenever the royalties, minerals are gone, then we have to raise our tax rate. Well, we can't raise it like we usually
Right.
drop it, raise it as the conditions change.
Right. I
So
understand
that's
that.
what scares us about
Lowering it too much.
lowering it too much.
I just want to talk about it.
I know. And hopefully if things level out, we don't know what's gonna happen. If things level out, then possibly next year we can see that things are in a better position and lower and lower. That's just a take on it.
It was 3.9,
3.9, so we went down
I make a
to,
motion that we set the tax rate at 0.3700.
Wait, the motion is to approve adopting the tax rate of 0.37 and authorizing the tax assessor collector to assess and collect taxes in accordance with the tax rate. Is that your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor, aye. Thank you.
I'm gonna make that a rarity.
Ooh, yeah. We have to have certain language in there, that's why we always calculate the taxes. Thank you.
Just want to remind y'all, open enrollment starting in just a few minutes, so.
All right, I'd like to go back up to item number. Item number 8, to approve bonds and education certificates of county officials and employees. I have one for Scott Shaw for cybersecurity, and I believe that is the last one. So we have a motion to accept this certificate. Happy day. Motion carries. All right, so now we are at comments from commissioners, board members.
Big man that works for me, his mother passed away. Visitations tonight from 5 to 7. Griffin Round, funeral's in the morning, grave down on him. Hooper Cemetery at 10 o'clock.
Okay, now tell me Ricky's mother.
I'm sorry,
Ricky's-
Maxine,
Maxine, yes, okay.
she is the next to the.
Next to the last
Next
one,
to
Armstrong.
Armstrong. Got one older sister, and that is Jill, that works for me, his mother.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
She's 85. Her day. Very soon.
So,
Anything else? If not, we have a motion to adjourn.
I think it's.
Thanks.
All in favor? Happy days.